you for joining us on another interesting edition of Away from Oil. Well, you know that planting improved varieties of crops is equal to maximum yield and also ensures food security for the nation, especially because of its qualities of high resistance to diseases, and of course that gives the farmers less troubles and reduces the cumbersomeness of farming. Well, root crops like cassava, yam, potatoes, ginger, turmeric are staple foods, especially for Nigeria. A little wonder, researchers have been working round the clock to ensure improved varieties, not just in their level of disease resistance, but also in their nutritive content. Well, there's good news. Today, as we speak, there is 46 number of improved varieties of cassava, courtesy of the National Root Crops Research Institute, Umudike. Little wonder we came all the way to see these cassava varieties for ourselves and also speak with the professionals and the experts. Thank you for joining us once again on Away from Oil. I am Mina Adobe Okobase. Now let's go in there and speak with the experts and also see things for ourselves.
Agriculture is very essential for national development. The reason is because it's a renewable technology. You grow your plants and then you can regrow. So it doesn't get finished like oil. So I think it is high time we get back to the mainstream agriculture in order to provide economic empowerment.
The National Root Crops Research Institute, Umudike Umuahia, Abia State, is saddled with the responsibility of providing improved planting root crops to enhance increase in productivity and profitability, including new agricultural practices and innovative information to farmers.
You are the right place because we have a national mandate. All the improved varieties of roots and the tuber crops emanate from here. Cassava is a major crop now. It is a crop of economic importance. It is a crop that can solve hunger and poverty in Africa. We produce the largest quantity of cassava in the world. We produce more than Brazil, Thailand, and the rest. We have developed a lot of improved cassava varieties. Up to now, at moment, we have developed up to 46 improved cassava varieties. TMA 419, TMA 0505, TMA 0581, TMA 0510, NR 8082. NR means National Root Crops, 8082, NR 8083. While TMS means Tropical Money Hot Species. Yeah, so we have developed all these improved varieties. There are up to 46 of them, including the Pro Vitamin A cassava. You call it yellow roots. The Pro Vitamin A cassava, there are 6 of them now. Homocas. You know, these ones are specifically enriched with vitamin and the minerals. You know, they are very, very nutritive and they are good for the rural people. The pregnant women, lactating mothers, those malnourished, so they will build their nutrition. So we have them. We call them Pro Vitamin A cassava. So we have developed up to 46 of them.
Poverty in Nigeria is an overwhelmingly grave problem and has been on the increase for many decades, being endemic to rural areas where the main occupation is farming. In recent times, technological advancement, especially in agriculture, has been very instrumental in reducing the poverty ratio through the development of genetically modified crop varieties such as cassava. It is a crop of long history and has been acknowledged as a food security crop.
Our target, what we really do here is to use modern biotechnology tools for the genetic improvement of wheat and tuber crops. And the essence of this is that using conventional methods takes a very long time to actually provide solutions to lots of problems that we have, like disease resistance, lack of nutritional quality, and the truth is that things are changing every day due to the climate change. So we are having a lot of disease incidents and a lot of issues. So we really need to use fast-tracked technology in order to provide quality cultivars, varieties for our farmers. So the point here is that with this technology, the farmers are greatly empowered on time, one, and then with quality varieties that will provide them with the food that is required for food security, as well as economic empowerment. So this program is really an essential program, and if we are going to match up with what the Western world is doing to achieve sustainable agriculture, I think this technology is the key, is the solution.
Yeah, farmers going for improved variety of cassava is actually of a very big advantage, because these improved varieties, like the ones developed by our institute, at least they are guaranteed yield of 25 tons and above, and that is far above what they get from the local varieties. So you can see the yield can double or triple depending on the management. So it's actually a very good thing. And then again, these varieties are tolerant to a lot of the diseases that affect cassava, something like cassava mosaic disease, for instance. So, and these varieties we develop are tolerant. And besides, now we are coming up with fortified cassava, mean fortification in terms of nutrient enrichment. So when they grow the new varieties, particularly the most recent releases, the yellow roots, it means ultimately also that they are having within themselves food that is better for their nutrition. So they have a lot of advantages, taking up our improved varieties.
We walk down or up, you will see a younger one. Okay. Like here. This is the first variety you see there. The 4779. So when you talk of seed, this is what we call seed. For tuber roots, I told you, we don't use botanical seeds. We use the stem. Like from here now to this place, you get plantable materials. For you to plant, you take a stake of about 25 cm, or the stake, the size that has up to 5 nodes. So you plant, it reproduces itself, you get exactly what you have planted. And when I talk of purity, like when you come here now, if you enter this field, you will see that it is only this variety that you will see. It is only this variety you will see. But by the time you go around this field and it gets up to 10% variety that is different from this, the field cannot be certified. And that is the NAS, National Agricultural Council rules and regulations for certification. Ordinarily, for your field to be certified, right from production, when you clear your land, prepare your materials, the body will come and look at the name of the varieties you are planting, whether they are properly labeled, because any material without label is not a material. So when the certification officer sees that the materials are labeled and that they are true to type, they will allow you to plant. At the middle of the year, they will come up again to see whether the things in that field are still the things you register that they are the things you planted. So by the end of the year, they will give you certificate, so that when farmers come, they can be advised to go and buy seeds from those people.
These are some of the varieties we have in the institute developed by Umudike.
Okay.
Right, so the one you see here, as labeled here, we call it Omokas.
Okay.
Omokas stands for Umudike Cassava.
All right.
44. So there are new varieties, and this is yellow root. Yellow root because it contains beta carotene. That's where Umudike did their added value into cassava. So here you don't obtain only carbohydrate, you also get vitamin A. Right. So you come here, this is another Omokas series. This is Omokas 37.
Okay.
You can see the yield is different from that. And they are all in that series of provitamin A cassava.
Okay.
Right. So we call this one 8082 NOR. NOR stands for National Root.
Okay.
National Root Crop.
Okay.
So NOR 8082.
Okay.
In fact, in my place they call it Ozomo. It carries a lot of roots.
Okay.
Right. So you come here, this is another variety of NOR. NOR 060189.
Okay.
You can see the yield. So this one is NOR 060135.
Okay. The yield.
Yes. So this is NOR 030174.
Okay.
Now this one is NR 8083. In fact, if you look at the yield, you see something else.
Yes, yes.
Right. So this is our 419.
Wow.
Though it's not, it's 419.
All right.
Right.
Okay.
TME, we did this one in collaboration with IITA.
Okay.
So it is not purely Umudike, but a collaborative work.
Oh, okay.
So we call it TME,
419.
Tropical Manihot Esculentum,
Okay.
419.
All right.
Okay, so we come here, we have NR 87184.
Okay.
And finally, for this session, this is an Omokas 45.
Okay.
It's another beta carotene cassava.
Okay.
Right.
A visit to University of Port Harcourt research farm further exposed other characteristics of improved varieties of cassava.
It's just a part of it. The farm is divided into 4 in order for us to maintain the 4 different varieties we have.
Okay.
We use the standard spacing for the planting.
Okay.
A meter by 75 cm.
Caused by an insect. It's unfortunate that if you look deep, just put your eye deep, you see some white stuff
flying around.
Yeah, it's called Bemesia tabaci, white flies. They are the one transmitting these disease. But if you look at this closely again, it is just scanty. That means this very variety has some kind of relative resistance to relative. I'm not working on it, but I suspect. Yeah. So
not very scanty, like this one is not there at all. Cassava, also known as manihot species, is either the first or the second most important staple food in many sub-Saharan African countries. Cassava production and processing practices remain largely habitual in most of the producing countries, despite the high potentials for its commercial production and processing, its export potential and use in local industries to reduce import expenditure on substitute imported products. Most cassava farmers in Nigeria still use only some and not all available recently developed modern techniques that can increase efficiency of growing and processing cassava. Inability to apply modern technologies in a holistic or consolidated manner for cassava growing and processing operations reduce the prospect to maximum yield and profit. As highlighted, some of the problems faced by cassava farmers, like low yield and attack from pests and diseases, which makes cassava farming unprofitable, have all been taken care of by the improved varieties, in addition to improved nutritive values. But improved variety of cassava has been bred in such a way that it is highly resistant to major cassava diseases like cassava mosaic disease and cassava bacteria blight, but moderately resistant to cassava anthracnose disease, which has a gestation period of 12 months. Also, improved varieties are tolerant to pests like cassava green mites and African root and tuber scale. This variety is comparatively high yielding, as about 20 to 30 tons can be harvested from 1 hectare of cassava farmland, provided all agronomic practices are carried out as required and the planting conditions are favorable. Apart from cassava farming, farmers of cassava can also indulge in cassava stem multiplication.
Our priority is to produce seed for dissemination, seed of improved varieties, and then primarily also to develop new varieties that are higher yielding, and also with resistance to the major diseases of cassava. Yes, we are also breeding for drought tolerance, so that we can expand the scope, the areas where cassava can grow. So we are also in recent times trying to fortify the cassava to enrich it with more nutrients that ordinarily you don't find in very good proportions. Something like vitamin A, provitamin A, and also some micronutrients. So that is that we develop these varieties and then try to disseminate, because ultimately until these materials get to the farmers and they begin to use them to improve their lives and livelihood, I think our aim wouldn't have been achieved. So as we develop the varieties, they are disseminated to end users.
Eslobos Integrated Farms Limited is a branch of Eslobos Group of Companies located at number 224 Eneka Iguruta Airport Road. It is the next stop over when it comes to farm produce, training and consultancy on the world best practices. The poultry section prides itself of over 5,000 birds per pen and cage, with a total of about 6 pens and a harvest per day of 10,000 crates. The fishery section is second to none, with about 24 concrete ponds, with a capacity of 10,000 fishes for each, and we're in constant sales. Snail production of over 15,000 table sizes, and a plantain plantation. Our farm market has the best processing unit and the mother of them all, the feed mill, with production capacity of over 40 tons per day. What else can we ask for? For bookings and inquiries, call the following numbers or visit our social media handles on your screen. Eslobos Integrated Farms Limited. We are proudly Nigeria.
For cassava, you select your site, and the good thing about cassava is that it can grow even in marginal soils where other crops will find it very difficult to grow. They prepare the land. The next thing, of course, is to get their cassava stems, cut them into stakes. For the purpose of ordinary multiplication, the stakes can be 10 cm or thereabout, and then the distance for ordinary multiplication is 1 meter, 1 meter by 1 meter. But if the farmer is aiming to produce stems, then it will come down. He can plant 1 meter by 50 cm. That's for stem production, i.e. the farmer is targeting to sell stems to other farmers. After that, then comes the weed control. The fertilizer is applied at 4 weeks. But depending on how weedy the farm is, if the farmer is using chemicals, then he can spray the chemicals, a mixture of premixtra and combined. So the farmer can use that, mix them up, in the right proportions. They are on the labels there, because these things vary with the manufacturer and then the concentration. So it can be sprayed before or immediately after planting. Okay, and at least up to 4 weeks before germination, because once the plant starts germinating, the post-emergence there, that is the glyphosate, will kill here. So this herbicide must be applied before emergence. So when you plant your stakes, it will take at least 1 week to begin to emerge. So you have that time to apply, or you can apply it before you plant. So the earliest you can begin to think of harvesting is 9 months, but we recommend that you let it stay at least 1 year, 12 months in the farm. It can also go beyond, okay? Like farmers who want to harvest piecemeal can leave it in the farm and then harvest when they need it.
Wow, planting of the 46 brand new varieties in cassava with the characteristics of improved yield and of course resistance to diseases and nutritive value is certainly a choice away from oil. Well, I think it's a piece of good news, especially to cassava farmers and all the intended farmers out there. Why don't you try out any of those varieties? But I'm sure you saw how huge those cassava tubers really were. It is a piece of good news. Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us on Away from Oil for today. I'm sure you enjoyed every bit of what we brought for you, all the way from Umudike, the National Root Crop Research Institute. Let's discuss another plant same time next week. From me, Nina Adobe Okobasa. It's bye.